I want to say just a few words about the morning, this part of the morning as a whole, because it all fits together very well. It is not too difficult in development to work out something that works in small scale. This can be done through pilot projects, through a government having a program in one part of the country, through a development assistance project that tries out an idea. There's many, many examples of trying out something that works. And then you try and scale it up. How do you scale something up? This is a real problem. And when I was working in development assistance, I used to say we had so many pilot projects around that we should open an airport because we had an awful lot of pilots and absolutely no takeoff from most of the pilots. So it's difficult. And by the way, it's not just a difficulty in this area. Pharmaceutical products often work on a small scale, but when you try and move them up, it simply doesn't work. Successful companies, when they decide that they have a success formula, will either try to go national or try to go international, and they have to pull back. It doesn't work. So this is not an issue that is only for international development and development issues. It's a puzzle. How do you take successful elements and then move them into a larger scale, a larger framework? And in an area like HKH, it's particularly challenging because you've got different cultures, different climates, different cultural experiences, different educational experiences, and so therefore there's even more challenges. So it's going to be a very interesting morning talking about this. One of the ways that you do this is by looking at value chains, because value chains change depending on the country and the area that you're looking at the value chain experience. So you use the methodology of the value chain, but you adjust it to Pakistan, to Sikkim, to Bhutan, to make sure that in moving an idea to market, you are taking full account of the different regulations, the different methodologies of all of these things. So a value chain methodology, even for a single product, has to change and has to adjust and has to be key to the market. So it is, by definition, something which has the potential to be a great deal more sustainable. So this morning, we're going to have a nice event, a 5-minute event first, and then we're going to have a video on value chains. And I just wanted you to really realize the linkage between that and the next part, because the next part is going to be a series of 4 discussions on the whole subject of, what are they calling it? I'm just going to make sure. Upscaling. That's right. Approaches at local levels and upscaling initiatives. So the next session is specifically focused on upscaling. And so therefore these two things really fit together. They're not at all separate ideas. So that's what I really wanted to say before we begin. And we've got some exciting people. Each one of the sessions will be presented by a 5-minute talk from an ICIMOD officer. And then there'll be a 10-minute discussion from one of the partners that have been involved in this issue. But before we do that, we're going to take some of the wisdom that has been distilled in ICIMOD from the collective experience, the value chain approach to mountain development. Case studies from Uttarakhand, for India, and it's got a video, it's got its own CD to go with this. So this is a launch of this particular publication, and are you going to call some people?
I will, yes indeed.
Okay.
So can I call, first of all, Mr. Parmar to receive a copy of the publication.
Thank you very much.
And could I also call the GIZ Red delegation from India to come and receive copies of the publication, please. GIZ Red delegation from India, please come to the front of the room.
Congratulations.
Okay, great.
Very good. Give one to this guy right here.
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
He's done not a bad job.
Okay, so now do sit back, relax, and enjoy an excellent video on value chain.
No popcorn?
No popcorn.
No popcorn.
You know, we've done that.
Yes.
This is the voice of the people of Uttarakhand. They live in the valleys, forests and ridges of some of the biggest mountains on the planet. Their homes, villages, schools and roads seem to disappear in the rough features of these grand mountains. Their lives are tough, but in a sheer display of human persistence and the will to survive, the people of Uttarakhand have stood against time and the destructive forces of nature. They have built thriving communities, cultures and enterprises on the steep slopes of these mountains. Their lives are a genuine example of self-sustenance within modest means. Many unique varieties of crops and natural products are harvested in the fertile regions of Uttarakhand. Even with the fast economic development of the new state, the people engaged in agriculture still face challenges. The distance and time required to reach the markets creates difficulties, especially for perishable mountain products. Inaccessibility, lack of market information, and an unorganized market structure make farmers vulnerable to exploitation. GIZ is an initiative of the Federal Republic of Germany dedicated to the upliftment of economically backward countries. ICIMOD is a regional intergovernmental organization working to improve the lives of the men, women and children of the Hindu Kush Himalayas through pro-poor development.
One important strategy for improving the well-being of mountain people is really for mountain people to engage in markets. But we know mountain people are also disadvantaged when it comes to being involved in markets due for a number of reasons. The remoteness to where people live, as well as the already extreme levels of poverty in the mountains. But a starting point to get people engaged is really to think about the advantages that mountain economies, mountain ecosystems have. One of those advantages is the rich biocultural resources that exist in the region. What we do at ICIMOD to take advantage of those opportunities, we use a value chain approach. That essentially links producers or harvesters to input and output markets. And what we do is try to link people with those markets. In addition, we also look for opportunities to add value to those products within that value chain.
ICIMOD has been working in the field of value chain promotion for more than a decade and all over the world. It has summarized its experience in a method and toolbox called Value Links.
A value chain describes the full range of activities that are required to bring products and services through the different phases of production, processing, trading, and delivery to consumers. We now move to the individual case studies to see value chain intervention approaches for 6 different products. Malta, a variety of citrus fruit, is abundant in Uttarakhand. However, mountain farmers could never benefit from Malta.
हमारे यहाँ पे ये माल्टा होता है, यहाँ पे कुछ पहले से काफी सारे से माल्टा होते थे, लेकिन उसकी इतनी अच्छी इनकम नहीं हो पाती थी, लोग आते थे ऐसे झाड़ झोड़ के ले जाते थे।
2008 से पहले जो ये माल्टा का हुआ करता था, इसका कोई वैल्यूएशन नहीं था। बच्चे ऐसे गेम की तरह खेला करते थे और लोग औने पौने गांव में जो ब्रोकर होते थे इधर आसपास के, वो उसको इकट्ठा करते थे।
अगर कोई एक ऐसा मॉडल डेवलप होता है कि जब ये इसको डायरेक्ट मार्केट नहीं मिल रहा है, तो ये सोचा गया कि इस फल के कितने हम प्रोडक्ट एंड बाई प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हैं जिससे इसके कुछ वैल्यू ऐड हो।
Interventions included establishing farmer groups and training farmers in appropriate tree and orchard management practices. Women's self-help groups were established to provide local level value additions and raising income through processing, packaging and branding of Malta.
महिलाओं के साथ मिलके जो है इस माल्टे को जो है इसका अच्छा दाम पाने के लिए जो है इसको तैयार करने के लिए यहाँ पे माल्टा तोड़वाई, फिर इसकी ग्रेडिंग करवाई है। इसको अलग अलग वैरायटी में, छोटे अलग, बड़े अलग और बड़े साइज अलग, और यहाँ से पेटियों में पैक करा के जो है हर को भेजते हैं, हर को वहाँ से बाहर सप्लाई करते हैं।
After introducing grading, farmers have been able to sell high quality Malta fruits in downstream markets for prices 2 or 3 times higher than before the intervention. At a thriving food processing facility set up by Hark in Kaleshwar, women process the finest Malta fruit picked from the orchards.
पूरे जिले से जितना माल्टा होता है सब यहाँ पे आता है और हम पिछले साल हमने देखा कि 200 टन माल्टा यहाँ पे प्रोसेस किया गया। इस साल जो हमारा टारगेट है, इस साल भी हम जो है 500 टन माल्टा को प्रोसेस करने जा रहे हैं यहाँ पे। इससे क्या होता है कि एक तो लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिल रहा है यहाँ पे।
Switch On is a brand established by the cooperative of local women's group to market their products.
मार्केट के साथ एक सही साइंटिफिक टेम्पर के साथ इसका सही एनालिसिस करके और उस कई बाय प्रोडक्ट बना के जो एक बैकअप सर्विस दी गई, तो लगता है कि वो एक इसका मेजर अचीवमेंट था।
Returns are slowly starting to come in for the men and women involved, and it is evident that possibilities exist for local value addition of mountain products like Malta. This will create a thriving atmosphere for self-reliance and employment generation amongst the farmers.
पहले एक दो ग्रुप थे, जब शुरू से वो यहाँ हाथ खुला था तो दो तीन ग्रुप थे। तो पता चला कि वहाँ फायदा हो रहा, रोजगार महिलाओं को रोजगार मिल रहा है। तो अब बहुत सारा ग्रुप यहाँ जुड़ गए। अभी और गाँव की महिलाएं कह रही हैं कि हमें भी जुड़ाओ, हमें भी जुड़ाओ।
कि आज हम आज इस दौर में पहुंच गए कि आज हमारा किसान अपना ग्रेडिंग करना सीख गया है, अपने माल की कीमत बोल सकता है। इससे पहले कोई माल की कीमत नहीं थी, लेकिन आज हमारी ऐसी महिलाएं बोले कि नहीं, हमारा माल 8 रुपए 9 रुपए से नीचे नहीं जाएगा। ये बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि आज हम उसकी वैल्यू सीख गए हैं।
Indian bay leaf, primarily used in the spice and traditional medicine sectors, is amongst the top 10 species of medicinal aromatic plants. In India, it has a demand of more than 100 tons per year. Although bay leaf is abundant in Uttarakhand, farmers have faced challenges in harvesting and selling their goods. In the Garhwal region of Uttarakhand, farmers were not allowed to harvest bay leaves from government-managed forests. In addition, the long distance to reach established markets in the plains made it difficult for mountain farmers to participate in the selling process.
यहाँ खरीदार को इकट्ठा करते थे तेज पत्ता को, तब तक हम लोगों को कोई गांव वालों को विशेष करके कोई मतलब जानकारी नहीं थी।
पहले तो काटते थे, पूरा पेड़ गिरा के काटते थे और वो लगा के पेड़ में लगा के साथ देते थे। ऐसे पहले ऐसे उसको दे देते थे, ठेकेदार ऐसे वैसे को ऐसे दे देते थे, हम कीमत में दे देते थे, कोई फायदा नहीं होता था।
ICIMOD, together with the State Forest Department and HARC, piloted a policy readjustment through which local communities in the Najmola Valley were given collection rights to harvest bay leaf from reserve forests through one panchayat.
प्रश्न ये था हमारे सामने, जो हमने इस सप्लाई चेन को बे लीफ की स्टडी किया, तो हमने ये देखा कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा 7% जो है आपका एक्चुअल कलेक्टर जो है या प्रोड्यूसर कमा रहा है।
As part of the intervention, the Forest Department provided training to farmers on sustainable harvesting methods, while HARC facilitated the social mobilization process.
तो इन्होंने हमें नई तकनीक मतलब अच्छी तकनीकें बताई जिससे हम टहनी को न काटे और कैसे छटाई करते हैं, उससे मतलब उससे तो वो भी होता है, हमारे पौधों को भी फायदा होता है।
नियम कानून यही बनाए सर हमने
कि प्रत्येक परिवार से एक आदमी वहाँ जंगल में जाएगा और वहाँ पे ढंग से निकालेगा जो कि पेड़ों को ज़्यादा क्षति न पहुँचे, और करीबन एक आदमी जो है 40 किलो से ज़्यादा नहीं ला सकता है। जो अगर पेड़ों को क्षति ज़्यादा मतलब मोटे टहनियाँ काटेगा तो फिर हमने जुर्माने का भी वो प्रावधान करा।
Local auctions were organized close to the production areas to ensure greater participation of the mountain farmers in the selling process.
हमने 2009 में भी इस कार्यक्रम को चलाया था। 25 क्विंटल हमने जो है दूसरी बार यहाँ पर नीलामी की थी, जो कि 39 रुपया 50 पैसे की दर से यहाँ पे नीलामी हुई थी।
These innovations have contributed to a mountain-sensitive, pro-poor, equitable and environmentally sustainable value chain.
फिर जब हमने इसको आखिर में फाइनली इस चेन को पूरा ठीक किया तो जो फार्मर्स परसेंटेज इस लेवल तक पहुंच गया किसी ने कल्पना नहीं की थी। अगर मैं उसको मनी टर्म्स में कहूँ वो कहीं नहीं तो मतलब 5-7 रुपए से एक बार तो 40 रुपए तक क्रॉस कर गया हो।
So in the case of Uttarakhand, 6-7 panchayats in that area, they got involved, and they were also, I would say, though they knew that how to select the trees, but some sort of slightly exposure or capacity building was secured. So in that process, they also learned what exactly the value addition or value chain development. So two objectives were achieved in the process. One is degree of transparency. Number two, how best we can ensure value add to the high value product. In this case, dairy. So, and third, I would say that we could make use of the historically known the community-based natural resource managers because they already knew. In this case, we started working on
Climatic conditions offer the hill farmers of Uttarakhand the advantage of producing off-season vegetables with at least 2 cropping cycles as compared to the plains. Local traders are the primary source of market knowledge for the farmers, and they can manipulate the price information. To create more transparent communication between market actors and farmers in Uttarakhand, GIZ partnered with Chia, ULIP, UOCB, NABARD and Gramya to encourage the use of a modern mobile phone-based agro-information service on a pilot scale.
इस सपोर्ट के बाद हम लोगों ने जो वैल्यू चेन एनालिसिस किए एंड डिफरेंट मार्केट्स को हमने स्टडी किया, जिसके बाद हमें लगा कि इसमें किन किन लेवल्स पे इम्प्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है, फार्मर्स की क्या नीड है, ट्रेडर्स को किस तरीके से हम कन्विंस कर सकते हैं। एंड देन जो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत थी कि कैपिटल की जरूरत है फार्मर की, फेडरेशन की, एंड सेकंड जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट जरूरत है अवेयरनेस की और मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस की। तो इस सारे प्रोग्राम को करते करते कैपिटल वाला पार्ट को ग्राम्य से हमने काफी हद तक फुलफिल किया, चिया ने कोलैबोरेट किया उनके साथ। और जहां तक का सवाल है मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस का, तो उसके लिए जो कंसेप्ट आया आरएमएल का, वो काफी यूजफुल रहा। और इट वाज फर्स्ट टाइम दैट चिया हैज इनिशिएटेड दिस एक्टिविटी विद आरएमएल इन उत्तराखंड, जो फर्स्ट टाइम पहाड़पानी एरिया में ही शुरू हुआ, जिसमें काफी इंप्रूवमेंट धीरे धीरे किए गए कि क्या सर्विसेज होनी चाहिए।
What we wanted to do as part of this pilot was to understand how farmers of the project villages will be able to take up marketing activities and how this service will be of benefit to the farmers.
Reuters Market Lite. Reuters Market Lite can be used in any mobile handset using any service provider. The subscribing farmer receives information for all stages from pre-sowing to post-harvesting and other areas vital for conducting successful farming trade.
जो हमारी आरएमएस सेवा है, इसमें हम किसानों को एसएमएस द्वारा फोन सेट पे एसएमएस द्वारा हम मतलब सेवा देते हैं, और साल की 2 अच्छी फसलें, मौसम की जानकारी और वेजिटेबल और ग्रीन के उनके मंडियों के रेट, इनकी जो भी सब्सिडी आती है गवर्नमेंट द्वारा, ये हम किसानों तक एसएमएस द्वारा देते हैं।
तो वहाँ शुरू में कम से कम 20 लोग फार्मर्स का हमें आरएमएल सेवा उन्होंने ऑर्डर उनके मोबाइल में दिए। तो शुरू में लोगों को लगा कि अभी वैसे सोचते हैं काम के नहीं आए, लेकिन धीरे धीरे बाद में उनको लगा कि मौसम की जानकारी है, जो हमारे क्रॉप्स वहाँ पर विभिन्न प्रकार की सब्जियाँ हो रही है, उनमें कई तरह की बीमारियाँ होती है, तो वो बीमारियों में जो है बीमारियों को वो करने के दूर करने के लिए जो उन्होंने सलाह उसमें आ रही थी, तो हमको को लगा ये बहुत अच्छा है। तो जो FIG के बाद जो है हमने FIG को जोड़ करके वहाँ पर एक फेडरेशन उसके बाद तो फेडरेशन के जो है विभिन्न प्रकार के मार्केटिंग के लिए और वैल्यू चेन के लिए JIZ की तरफ से ट्रेनिंग भी वहाँ फील्ड में आकर की गई, साथ में देहरादून में भी यहाँ ट्रेनिंग दी गई।
These market information services have already helped increase market efficiency, yields and profits of the farmers.
When we did an evaluation, internal evaluation of how the service was being accepted by the community, we found that the women farmers were sharing this information within their self-help groups as well as within their federations. Some of the farmers were also noting down, the messages and then sharing it and discussing with the community. We also found an instance where the farmers were able to negotiate with the local traders and say that, okay, today the mandi price is this much. Now, if I sell my produce locally, whether I should sell my produce locally or should I send it to the ministry? So, this is how the negotiating power of the community and we perceived increased.
कई फार्मर ने ये कहा कि और ये आर्मी से पढ़ाई कर सकती है करके, फिर हमने JIZ वालों से कहा तो उन्होंने ये हो सकता है, तो उन्होंने आप इसका वचन बाद में क्या कुछ देंगे, उन्होंने प्राइस देने को भी कुछ 1 या 2 फार्मर ने उसमें से बाद में जो है RML सेवा शुरू में 2 महीने की थी, तो उसका RML सेवा के लिए वचन उन्होंने खरीद करके उसमें अपने मोबाइल में रखा।
बेनिफिट्स की बात कहें तो आज फार्मर को जो बार्गेन करता है वो ट्रेडर के साथ वो बहुत अच्छे से कर रहा है, क्योंकि उसके पास कम से कम मार्केट के रेट मोबाइल पे अवेलेबल है। हालांकि अभी बहुत ज्यादा इसका बेनिफिट इन टर्म्स ऑफ इनकम नहीं ले पा रहा, लेकिन वो आज ट्रेडर को ये कहने में सफल रहा है कि भाई आप हमें भी आज सब जानकारी है, आप इस जानकारी दी। सेकेंडली जो पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉसेज होते थे उनमें थोड़ा रिड्यूस हो रहा है, क्योंकि जो वेदर की इंफॉर्मेशन है वो काफी अच्छी उसमें अवेलेबल हो रही है, तो उससे काफी फायदा हो रहा है। और एक जो और अच्छा फायदा ये है कि कई गवर्नमेंट्स की स्कीम्स होती है जो उसमें अवेलेबल होती है, तो कोई भी फार्मर जो कई बार शाई नेचर के होते हैं वो भी अपने नजदीक में जो भी डेवलपमेंट एजेंसी है उससे बात करने में सफल है। तो RML का जो कंसेप्ट है वो बहुत यूजफुल है कि मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस को बढ़ाने में, अवेयरनेस बढ़ाने में, और साइड बाय साइड जो ग्रामीण ने सपोर्ट किया है फाइनेंशियल वे में, और चिया और JIZ जो तकनीकी रूप से सहयोग कर रहे हैं इस पूरे प्रोग्राम में, आई थिंक ये कल को बेटरमेंट के लिए फार्मर्स के लिए एक तरीके से मील का पत्थर साबित हो गया है। होप की जो हमारी कोऑपरेटिव भी वहां पर बनी है वो इस पूरे प्रोग्राम को फर्दर एक्सटेंड करेगी।
A wealth of scenic spots and unexplored destinations lay hidden in the hills of Uttarakhand. But most of the tourist activity is concentrated in popular destinations. These places have been overexploited and saturated. Over the years, there has been a steady growth in the number of tourists looking to go somewhere else, to quieter and cleaner places. This opens new opportunities to promote and develop the relatively lesser known destinations of Uttarakhand.
किसी भी स्थान पर कैरी कैपेसिटी को ध्यान में रखा जाए। कैरी कैपेसिटी मींस कि किसी भी स्थान पर इतने अधिक पर्यटक न आ जाए कि हम वहाँ पर उनकी व्यवस्था न कर पाए, उनकी एक्कोमोडेशन की व्यवस्था न कर पाए, सीवरेज की व्यवस्था, पानी की व्यवस्था न कर पाए। इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए हमने प्रदेश के विभिन्न स्थलों पर नए पर्यटक स्थलों को डेवलप करने का प्रयास किया है।
To promote offbeat tourism in the state, GIZ assessed the opportunities and challenges in offbeat locations, developed the promotion strategy with state tourism board officials, and trained travel and tour operators to enhance their skills in showcasing Uttarakhand in trade fairs and promotional venues. Venture capital investment was also facilitated to support local entrepreneurs in infrastructure development. A conclave of tour operators and local entrepreneurs was also organized to facilitate business amongst the players of this sector.
2009 और 10 का जो JIZ ने ग्रुप कराया था, उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि मेरे जो यहाँ के ऑपरेटर आए थे उनके साथ डायरेक्टली मेरा एक लिंकेज हो गया, और जो मेरा फ़ोन नंबर या वो मेरे कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर था उनके पास ऑलरेडी चला गया था। तो उससे के बाद 2010 और 9 के बाद जो टूर ऑर्गेनाइज कराया था JIZ ने, उसके बाद टूरिस्ट में काफ़ी बढ़ोतरी हो गई।
The owners of Blue Canvas Resort in Chakrata, a relatively unknown hill region 100 kilometers from Dehradun, have been active participants in the meetings organized by GIZ Their companies aptly called the roadless travel ventures, reflecting their own philosophy and the place they grew up in.
Blue Canvas Rural Tent Resort. It's a luxury Swiss cottage resorts. We have 6 tents right now with attached projects, and we also have 2 other facilities to provide a complete experience to tourists. Now this resort is based on a concept called less is more. Less resources we are using and providing a better experience. So we started using forest land where we were pitching tents and provided giving that those kind of experience using forest property. एक पूरी सप्लाई चेन को देखते हुए चल रहे हैं हम लोग कि वहाँ पे फार्मर्स हैं जो कुछ उगा रहे हैं. अभी जो हमारा जो प्रेजेंट इकॉनमी है उसमें वो नीचे ले जाके उसको मंडी में बेचते हैं. हम देख रहे हैं कि हम उसमें कैसे वैल्यू ऐड करके और उसके लिए एक मार्केटिंग चैनल उससे अलग, मंडी से अलग, एक रेगुलर चैनल से अलग भी हम कुछ दे सकते हैं. तो उसके लिए हमने कुछ चीजें स्टार्ट करी है. जैसे हम प्रोक्योर करते हैं, हमने सेब प्रोक्योर किया इस बार, हमने इस बार मिर्ची प्रोक्योर करी, अदरक प्रोक्योर किया और उससे हमने क्या बोलते हैं कुछ फिनिश गुड बनाए हैं.
The growth of offbeat tourism business has encouraged reverse migration. The initiative also encourages talented and entrepreneurial people from Chakrata to get involved in local enterprises.
Kutu is Lokpal Singh. So he was working with great value and it is one of the best hotels in Nepal. So he was working there for past 7 years. Then he joined us, he left his job and he joined us, and then actually we had a proper team where people were looking after different roles. Pankaj is a national level shooting champion, and apart from shooting he has many other talents. In that already had a presence here. Then Rangelands Singh, he came late. He is actually known as Dr. Saab here because the kind of traditional wisdom he has. So people call him Dr. Saab, and he actually provides all those consulting services for free in the village. So he is the one who actually helped us in acquiring this land.
A surprise lays waiting for the guest who stop by Blue Canvas, a small firing range for the local school kids. The Blue Canvas team sees a bright future for these kids in the field of competitive shooting and sponsors their training. Travel and tour operators have started incorporating thematic packages which include trips to these lesser-known destinations.
Overall market size of Chakrata has gone up by 15%. So that is the size. जो जितने भी यहाँ पे hotels हैं, सबका business has gone up by 15%.
The local entrepreneurs now have the option to create a self-sustained, eco-friendly business model. They have consciously adapted this approach as they are well concerned with the risk of excessive tourism.
इस सबसे पहले तो मैं यहाँ पे ये ध्यान में वो पूरी कोशिश है कि यहाँ पे किसी प्रकार का पॉलिथीन यूज ना हो.
इस प्रकार जो पर्यटन पहले केवल कुछ सीमित स्थानों पर ही बचता था, उसका विस्तार हो गया, फैलाव हो गया है और वो जगह जगह वाइड होता हुआ जा रहा है. और इस प्रकार पूरे प्रदेश में एक इकोनॉमी डेवलप करने का साधन भी बनता जा रहा है कि किस प्रकार पर्यटकों का आगमन जो है बढ़ेगा और राउंड द ईयर टूरिज्म अराइवल क्योंकि अभी जो सीजनलिटी रहती है, अब इस प्रकार की एक्टिविटी हो जाने से राउंड द ईयर टूरिज्म बढ़ेगा और देश के आर्थिक में इकोनॉमिक में से
Mountains are known for high-value medicinal plants. Kut and Kutki are 2 such high-value medicinal plants found in Uttarakhand that are used in traditional medicinal systems.
If we really are serious about conservation of our nature and plants, rarest of the rare plants, we must grow more and more species. In the most, I would say, appropriate agroclimatic zone. That means the Sorceria, Lappa, Picoriza, Purua are to be cultivated. They have to be cultivated about 8,000 feet or 7,000 feet, not say in the plain areas.
However, Kut and Kutki are listed under CIPES, banned from commercial harvesting from forest areas. Farmers in Uttarakhand have been cultivating Kut and Kutki since 2001, but received low prices and do not have access to end buyers. In 2009, GIZ partnered with ULIP HRDI to develop a traceable production to market chain for Kut and Kutki.
उत्तराखंड पहला स्टेट है जहाँ पे जड़ी बूटी के किसानों का पंजीकरण होता है, ताकि हमारे पास सबूत रहे कि फलाना किसान फलानी चीज को अपने खेत में उगाया. इसे मेन है इलीगल ट्रेडिंग को बंद करना, दूसरा किसान को विपणन में उससे आसानी.
GIZ intervention began by mapping the chain of Kut and Kutki. This included tracing the production areas, assessing volumes, prices and markets. Meeting with buyers and sellers were organized. With the help of bodies like HRDI, ULEP and Ankur, farmers in the far reaches of Uttarakhand such as Ramni, Ghat and Deval were trained and improved pre- and post-harvest operations. Market linkages were developed with IMPCL. This led to higher prices of Kut and Kutki.
जैसे हम इससे पहले जड़ी बूटियां यहाँ पे जो बिचौलिए लोग जो खरीदते थे मिल में वो कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे लगभग पहले 50-60 रुपए पर क्या पर है तो ये हमने इसको एक यूनिट के माध्यम से उसकी ट्रेनिंग ली और सब में एक्सपोजर में गया तो मैं IMPCL कंपनी वो GIZ की तरफ माल बेचा है उसमें जो हमने कुट्टी बेची है कुट्टी का दाम गया है वो 425 रुपये कुट्टी है पहले वो 150 से 180 रुपये किलो होता था 425 में वहाँ पे कुट्टी बेची है जिसमें हमने 10 कुंटल कुट्टी हमारी दी है 15 कुंटल कोट गया हमारा पूरे 150 रुपये के जी गया हमारे 15,000 कुंटल तो उन्होंने लगभग 2008 में हमने जो माल बेचा है लगभग 9 लाख का माल है यहाँ से।
सबसे बड़ा फायदा ये हुआ है कि पूरे नेशनल लेवल पे बायर इवन साउथ इंडिया नॉर्थ इंडिया सारे बायर यहाँ पे उत्तराखंड में आने लगे और भेषज संघ की जो एक मोनोपोली टाइप की थी एक बार्गेनिंग था कि भाई आप 25 रुपए किलो में यहाँ पे रखते हैं तो रखो और 1 साल बाद पैसा मिलेगा वो चीज उसके बाद लिमिटेड
जड़ी बूटी ही का ही भविष्य जो है गेहूँ और चावल तो दाम तो कहीं और ज्यादा हो जाएगा लेकिन ये कुछ तो ऐसे देने हमारे यहाँ 6,000 फीट ज्यादा ऊंचाई के इलाकों में उससे नीचे नहीं होती है।
Nettle fiber has traditionally been used in Uttarakhand to make ropes and articles for domestic use.
नेटल हमारे 8,000 फीट से ऊपर एरिया में मिलते हैं। हमने इसलिए फोकस किया कि जो भेड़ पालक है उनकी लाइवलीहुड फंड है तो अगर हम इसको वूल के साथ ब्लेंड करके इन्हीं जो वीवर्स ग्रुप लगाएंगे तो क्योंकि नेटल उसी एरिया में ग्रो कर रहे हैं और हमारे जो कैपेसिटी भी वही था।
It is a tough and durable fiber. It can be rolled into a yarn, woven into a fabric and then a great looking garment ready for the market. But this is easier said than done. The entire process, starting from harvesting, water retting, degumming, yarn making and finally weaving the end product into a fabric is highly labor intensive but does not return a fair profit.
कुछ हमारे बुनाई में भी होगी परेशानी हम ये नहीं कर रहे कि हमारे मशीन के जैसे कपड़े बनते हैं हमारे तो घर के हाथ के बनाए कपड़े में इतनी सफाइयाँ तो रहती है मगर जो बाहर मशीन के तो दिखने में बड़े अच्छे करते हैं मगर जितना मेहनत हमारे हमें करना पड़ता है उतना मशीन में थोड़ा करना पड़ता है तो इसलिए हमें हर चीज़ की जरूरत है अभी कुछ ट्रेनिंग की भी जरूरत है और फिर मार्केटिंग की भी जरूरत है।
To address problem areas, GIZ in partnership with the Uttarakhand Bamboo and Fiber Development Board is facilitating research and development of new standard processes to enhance the efficiency of processing and spinning Himalayan nettle. This will reduce the workload on women and also improve the quality of produce.
इसकी बात है कि इसको सीधे टीचर जैसे में डाला जाता है इसकी एक तो टीचर का काम क्या है कि ये जो है एक तो फाइबर को जो है अलग देता है अभी तक जो काम कर रहे थे वो जो है हाथ के पंजे को यूज करके किया जाता था और एक हैंड कार्टिंग मशीन की डेवलप की गई उससे किया जाता लेकिन उस मशीन की और उस टेक्निक्स की जो एफिशिएंसी थी वो बहुत ही कम थी लेकिन इस मशीन की वजह से जो है कि ये हुआ है कि इसकी एफिशिएंसी बहुत ज़्यादा है और लगभग ये जो है कि एक दिन में 400 से 500 कुंटल जो है कार्टिंग कर सकता है।
In an effort to promote alternative livelihood opportunities for the traditional weavers, the State Forest Department allowed collection of nettle from reserve forests for fiber-based applications.
जगह में हम लोगों ने नेटल का जब पोटेंशियल देखना शुरू तो पॉलिसी लेवल में ये हुआ कि जब तक हम गांव वाले को इकट्ठा करने नहीं देंगे जंगल से तब तक तो ये रेप्लिकेट नहीं तो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने फिर गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर निकाला कि ये लाइवलीहुड के लिए लोग खुद जंगल से फ्री कलेक्ट कर सकते हैं।
The minimum support price set by the government has been increased from 35 to 55 rupees per kilo of raw fiber, allowing better returns for the local collectors.
पहले 35 रुपया था फिर जैसे हमने देखा गया जनरल में इसमें कलेक्शन में टाइम लग रहा है, तो इसको 45 रुपीज़ इंक्रीज कर दिया था और फिर नेक्स्ट ईयर को 55 रुपीज़ में इंक्रीज।
To help promote nettle fiber in the textiles market, the Ministry of Textiles of the Government of India has also identified Uttarakhand as a focus state for two important natural fibers, Himalayan nettle and industrial hemp. To revive the handloom industry, the state government is also promoting fiber banks on the line of wool banks to streamline the supply chain of raw material to the weavers, whose livelihoods are being challenged by cheap synthetic fabrics and yarn. The underutilized biomass of nettle plants found in the state has the potential to improve the livelihoods of the poor people living near the forests. The potential to transform raw fibers into a high-quality product must be tapped to reap greater returns for local harvesters and processors.
As far as the knowledge base was concerned, GIZ contributed a lot, right? But at the same time, what I could find was the level of the level of preparation that was needed in terms of following practices and policies that could reduce a good value chain. That could come up very slowly. So most of the policies which could come by 2010, 2011, I think GIZ have got many roles to play there in terms of doing some analytical research so as to meet those state policies. I think there it was major contribution and learning which we could derive.
Our vision is that men, women, and children in the Himalayan region enjoy improved livelihoods in a healthy mountain environment. The way we do that, when we reach that vision, is really through knowledge and regional cooperation, and that's the region's experience. The other part of it is to make sure that we have pro-core values, that we really find a way to do that and support people. And we do that in the environmental system. But I believe that ICIMOD made really good progress in those fields. It's an area that we want to continue to support our people.
What we saw in our collaboration with ICIMOD is that the working together of the two organizations is sort of a perfect fit in the sense that they are the experts in development issues of the Himalayan region. And here is a project that for 6 years has worked in private sector development, market-led development, sustainable, inclusive development of small enterprises and producer organizations, and that these two things work together very well. What we do apply is the so-called value chain approach. In Uttarakhand, the RED project trained other professionals and farmers, has created manuals, and now together with ICIMOD documented this experience in what we are seeing now and in some books that are going to be available to all practitioners.
The people of Uttarakhand have been producing and utilizing these products and services as a source of livelihood for generations. The pilot projects implemented by ICIMOD and GIZ have illustrated the possibilities of moving the products and local producers of Uttarakhand higher up their respective value chains. These piloted approaches can be upscaled and replicated to other sectors as well, paving the way for pro-poor inclusive growth in the remote mountain areas.
Could I ask the discussants for the two teams of discussants to come over, please, and they'll be introduced as you come.
Thank you, Dr. Margaret. In fact, she's taken on a bit of my role already before I hand it over to you. I think the film has adequately set the tone for our session on upscaling local initiatives. So let me just take another minute to reintroduce Dr. Margaret Carson, who is an ICIMOD board member, but also sits on the board of the Canadian Water Network, the UN Secretary General's Advisory Board, the Stockholm Water Prize, the Crop Diversity Trust, and the International Fertilizer Development Council, among several other boards. We have a very esteemed chair for this session. I'd also like to request the discussants to come and sit on the panel. We have Dyutiman Choudhury and Mr. Rawat, Muhammad Ismail, Mr. Chen, Ms. Pratap and Mr. Harish Sharma, and Mr. Augustus Suting. I'd like to invite Mr. Rajan from ICIMOD to welcome our panel. I forgot to mention one more panelist, Dr. Dhrupad Choudhury. He's wearing too many hats, so.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Rajan. I now request Dr. Margaret Carson to take over the session, elaborating ICIMOD's experiences in upscaling. Over to you. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the welcoming present. A delightful habit, which is very lovely and gives us useful reminders as well as very beautiful ones. Okay, so we've got a very full time. So the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of cutting. Somehow we managed to get a 20-minute slot for a 35-minute video. So the mathematics of this does not work very well. So therefore the cutting is going to take place on our first group. We're going to just cut back a little bit on the time because they were going to explain what was in these really very powerful and well put together videos. So in other words, the first topic, and all of these are going to be about upscaling, as I said earlier, as a way of getting more sustainability because the linkage is with market forces, which has a higher degree of sustainability, we hope, than those offered by concessional finance. So the very first item that we were going to be talking about was including incomes and diversifying livelihoods through value chains. This is Dyutiman Choudhury was going to say a few words on behalf of ICIMOD, and Mr. Lapchak was going to then say a few words from the government of Uttarakhand. Now, I'm going to say to both of you, would you mind please just saying a very few words in summary and not the entire presentation, because we had an excellent presentation. Dyuti, are you first? Okay. I will be quite rude after 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you've got a glimpse of our work in the video that you have seen just now. I hope that you liked it.
How many PowerPoint slides do you have?
Around 5 or 6.
No. Just please just tell us your personal summary, because we've seen all of this.
Yes. So this is an approach that we use, Himalayan approach.
Dyuti, we had this.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, basically what I want to say is that how we work to make our value chains properly. And that is the essence of our conceptual framework. Because it's not about economic growth only, but it's also to see how poor get a share of the growth. And also looking in the mountain conditions, we cannot oversee the mountain specificities in the value chain analysis. So when we look at the mountain specificities with the value chain analysis, it helps us to come up with certain strategies, upgrading or downgrading, which helps us to come up with action plans which reduces the risk and increases resilience of mountain people. You know, we have seen the linkages of value chains and livelihoods in the movie, and this is how we work with our partners. We don't implement ourselves, but you see that we have a very strong focus on providing enhanced benefits from participation in value chains to our target groups through a series of group upgrading value chains. This is a slide where I take a little bit time, I've given you 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute here, that our work is also related to not only a farmer market linkage, but also to see how people are engaged in the value chains. Basically, we talk about the triple bottom lines in value chain analysis of integrating poverty issues, environment issues, and gender issues in the chain analysis and upgrading strategies. Secondly, our main focus is not only, as I say, to sell products in the market, but also to see the terms of engagement. Terms of engagement is a very big term because it is not only getting the money, but also involves institutions, coordinations, access to resources and markets, management policies, engagement with the private sector and power relations. In the mountain conditions, if you want to have a sustainable approach, it's not always the economies of scale, but also you have to see the basket approach, the economies of scope, which you call. And we have to see that there's increased value share from the value chains in the mountain areas. The use of information technology and other things for value addition and competence is very clear. And value chain development also provides options for the local communities to invest their savings, and especially remittances, in productive works. And lastly, very recently we have seen how farmers in the mountain areas are faced with water stress and human and wildlife depredation. And recently we are also doing a lot of action research to see how hybrid products and value chains can help to address such issues. These are some of the publications that we have had, which are well documented. We can share with you if you want. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Dyuti, is there a single biggest challenge when these projects are launched? Is there usually a single real challenge that you have to get through before you move ahead?
I think so. The first priority that we have is in the participatory chain analysis, where the identification of the true target groups are very important. Because whenever there is a lot of money involved, the edit capture is very evident. So that's where we have to keep a lot of attention, and also we need to be in line with the development plans of the local agencies of the government. These are the things, if we can put in perspective, then it helps us to attain results.
Those are the indispensable 2 bits. Okay, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for shortening your presentation. The other half of this particular presentation, I believe, is Mr. Lapchak, and you are very welcome, but I hope you will also be very, very short because we've had these presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll be very short. This is the location of Uttarakhand state. The challenges are very like a continuation of western part of Nepal. And value chain, we have blessed with more than 3,000 species and other plants. But I'm presenting 2 mountain niche products.
Bailey and Himalayan nettle, which we have already seen in this. This vegetarian nettle, what we have learned is that the science, especially we need mechanization in between so that the process delivery, then the fuel and the water uses can be reduced, and we have reduced the production cost of that nettle thread was 900 rupees, and we have, because of this introduction, we have reduced to 500 rupees. And we are again talking with IIT Delhi, maybe reduced to, I think, 350 rupees or 300 rupees, so that the market, the nettle fiber can be competed with cotton or any other. Another thing is policy intervention. Collection of nettle was given to farmers from the reserve forest, and the minimum support price was given by the government. And from micro level experience, we have influenced the national level policy. So from micro to macro, this is one of the example. And number two is bay leaf. Bay leaf usually the problem is mindset. The forest department usually auction directly to the big mandis, but we have shifted that mandis to mandis means auction center to the farmer's place. So we have shifted 200 kilometers above the footings. So the farmer started getting the price, better price. Enable condition, not explained. Because of change agent.
I think go back to the enabling conditions, please. Those are really important.
Engaging local institution. Co-management approach is necessary because community, NGOs, and department. And the market accessibility. We have taken mandis to up in the hills. So we have 30 mandis. Then research and development, of course, important. And access to information, we have seen already that SMS. And empowering women to lead the product activity. These are the institutions, change agents. We have many partners. Going ahead, this is the product of Ratan Tata Trust project. Lastly, I want to say a few things. I think in our view that fundamental research should further go to action research. Then from action research, the incubation period is necessary. The science where incubation for technology, maybe for finance, capacity building, then only we can link to market. And this has a strong role to play by the government as a facilitator. And co-management is very necessary. And this can be replicated, I think, to our colonial brother, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar also, because we have a similar forest management system in the past. Dr. Tolia, we are discussing with Dr. Tolia. I think the scientist should be manager, then managing bureaucrat and managing scientists. So that is the key for the success of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you very much for shortening your two presentations. I'm very sorry that we had to do that. But if we run this properly, there'll be time to talk afterwards, because I hope you're going to have a lot of questions on this. So, from 4 mountain products, which were a very interesting presentation, we turn now to one of the products of the mountain itself, which is Rangelands. And we're going to have presentations on Rangelands and the experience from China. And the ICIMOD presenter in this is Mohammed Ismail. And then Chen Taixiang will be the discussant from Taixiang, is that right? Yeah. After, yes. That's okay.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will be very short and brief.
You have 5 minutes.
Okay, I have 5 minutes. So I will be very brief because my co-partner, he also needs a translation. So today in our this presentation we will be talking about the rangeland of Hindu Kush. as most of you know that 60% of this HKH region is covered by the rangeland. And the communities living in these rangelands, they are the most marginal and poorest of the poor community in this area. So ICIMOD took this initiative and to work with these deprived communities to uplift their livelihood and their socio-economic condition. And ICIMOD worked in this region for more than a decade, and still we are working on this topic. We have many success stories. ICIMOD work in 6 countries out of 8 ICIMOD regional member countries on this topic, starting from Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan and China. So today we are presenting one of the success story from our Chinese partner. So he will be telling most of the upscaling work which we piloted here in China, and he will be presenting the upscaling of this story and the project which we piloted here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are you going with him? Yeah. Oh, there. Still there. Very timely.
我来自中国四川草原科学研究院。
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm from the Sichuan Grassland Science Academy.
我首先表示抱歉，我英语口语有点不好。
So sorry, I have to present this in Chinese to you.
下面我用我对这个报告呢，我用从三个方面的向大家做介绍。第一是项目的背景，项目开展的主要活动；第二个是主要从项目开展的影响，就是说从示范到推广这方面重点向大家介绍。
So in a short presentation, I will elaborate on 3 points. One is the background of this program of collaboration, and also the main activities we have implemented. And the last part, I want to say something about the project impacts, how it moved from 2 pilot townships to 5 provinces in China.
首先，这个项目背景，我们搞的这个项目是在川西北高原的四川宏远2个选择2个社区。宏远就是整个川西北高原占四川总面积的1/3强，它是全国5大某区之一。
Our collaborative pilot was conducted in the 2 townships in Hongyuan County, in the western part of Sichuan. And Sichuan is one of the major pastoral areas of China.
川西北草原主要以藏族为主的少数民族居住，其经济、社会和生态，以及地处长江、黄河上游，它地位十分重要。
So the region of this western China is mainly especially in the western part of Sichuan, is mainly inhabited by Tibetan people, and this region has a great role in terms of ecology and social development, and there is social harmony.
主要存在的问题，除又是与山地中心成员国共同的这个喜马拉雅山脉的这个该区的自然和生境条件以外，草地资源退化、工业生产这个经济收入低下，也是造成草原退化的一个主要原因，是农民缺乏积极的参与和草地管理的政策和这方面的机制。
So the problems faced by the pastoral rangeland area of China is more or less as the other areas. So that is like the degradation of the rangeland ecosystems, and also the poverty among the pastoralists. So one of the reasons for this is poor management of the rangeland resources, which lead to the degradation of the rangeland ecosystem. Is that the farmers, the herders, they
there are lack of incentives, or there are lack of active participation into the decision-making process.
第二项目，自这个1990年以来，山地中心与保院及宏源县政府开展了多种形式的参与式管理，以及对我通过这几年的时间，我们现在呢就是主要开展了下面一些4个方面的活动。
So starting from 1996, our institute and ICIMOD, so we collaborated also with the government of Hongyan County to implement a co-management of rangeland resources in its Hongyan County.
第一方面就是人力建设和政策推动。
So we have several the following activities implemented. The first part is this capacity building and policy dialogue.
我们在这个项目设计的时候，我们就把提高项目人员、当地政府和群众的参与，把他们几方面的积极性就同时调动起来，这是我们就说是站在政府推动的一个主要的一个做法。
So now this part, so the first thing we try to do is to enhance the awareness and the capacity of our project staff, and also the local government, as well as the research institutions, the scientists, to increase awareness and capacity to do participatory management of natural resources. And the second part is to enhance the awareness capacity of the farmers, of the herders themselves, so that they can participate and make wise decision in their rangeland management. And the third part of this, we train project staff and government officials and also the herders in
about some of the very interesting things. I mean, I think most people in this room know that ICIMOD has been associated with bees, but there's some dimensions and aspects of this beekeeping project that are very important, and we're going to hear about some of these this time, because obviously it's very important as income generating, but there's also been some other importances connected with biodiversity. So we're going to hear about experiences from India, and Uma is going to be the ICIMOD introducer, and that will be followed by Harish Sharma from YS Parmar University in Solan in India. Uma.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to give you a brief introduction of the beekeeping project that ICIMOD has been implementing for the past 2 decades now. It's about the Himalayan beekeeping project experiences from India. ICIMOD, as all of you know perhaps, has been promoting this beekeeping with Himalayan honeybee Epicurana as one of the poverty reduction strategies in the Hindu-Kush Himalayan region. It's for 2 reasons. One, as Madam just told, it's a source of cash income to mountain poor, to women, to youth, to the landless, and also the disadvantaged group of the society, as it doesn't require the financial investment and one to own land to take up this activity. And another, that it makes a very good contribution to boosting agricultural production, for example, of fruits, vegetables, oilseed and spicy crops, and also contributes to maintenance of biodiversity. ICIMOD has been implementing this regional beekeeping research and development program in collaboration with national partner organizations in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, India, Nepal, and Pakistan for the past 2 decades. We so far implemented the various phases, various cycles of this project. We worked on exploration of Epicurana genetic diversity. We worked on perfecting techniques for selection, management, and multiplication of this bee. We conducted field studies to document pollination-related problems faced by mountain farmers across Hindu-Kush Himalayan region, and undertook action research on the impact of honeybee pollination in enhancing yield and quality of fruit crops, for example, apple. Then we worked on community mobilization and building the capacities of individuals and institutions at various levels in beekeeping management for production of honey and pollination and promoting bees for pollination. And finally, we took up promoted the pro-poor value chains for honey. We collated and shared information related to honey trade policy, quality assurance system in honey, and we worked on developing curriculum for academic as well as technical institutions on agriculture. In India, we worked in Uttarakhand, we worked in Himachal Pradesh. In Himachal Pradesh, our lead partner was the University of Horticulture and Forestry, Solan, where we focused on managed pollination of apple. And here I would share with you only 3 key achievements that we made in India. One of them was promotion of managed pollination of apple, where we have been able to integrate beekeeping in apple production system. Here, farmers are using bees for apple pollination. Pollination entrepreneurs have come up for this purpose, where farmers are gaining improved yield and better quality fruit, and beekeepers are getting paid for pollination services. And there is now a system to help farmers in getting bees for pollination. Second example of success story and upscaling is appreciation of the role of indigenous honeybee in improving mountain livelihoods in India. And this is evidenced by the fact that the national funding institutions, for example, National Bee Board, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Department of Science and Technology, Horticulture Development Mission of Government of India, they are supporting upscaling projects to our partners now both in Himachal and Uttarakhand. And third is the uptake of our knowledge products by various universities, farmers, government departments and private sector organizations, particularly our resource books on pollination and beekeeping have been published for wider dissemination and use by universities, by government department and private sector organizations. And here we will focus on sharing with you just one success story of upscaling. Here it is about the integration of beekeeping with apple production, a success story. We are presenting this success story because it's a very good example of linking science to action, where we have been linking the science of apple production and pollination with community involvement, where beekeepers are involved, farmers are involved. And it's a very good example of upscaling because there is an institutional mechanism now set up for this purpose, where farmers put up the demand for bee colonies to fruit growers associations, and fruit growers association then takes up this demand with the Department of Horticulture, Government of Himachal Pradesh, which then makes supply arrangement with the private beekeepers for making these bee colonies available to farmers. And it's also a very good example of payment for ecosystem services. Here, the beekeepers are paid for the pollination services by the farmers to whom they are providing the service. So with this, I will request Dr. Harish Sharma, who is a senior scientist at the University of Horticulture and Forestry, Solan, and a partner in this project, to present more details of.
Thank you, Uma. How many countries is the ICIMOD bee project now in?
It's 7 countries, but implementation was done in 6. In Afghanistan, we could provide support for developing this beekeeping program, and also this developing the
But
resource manuals.
all 7 countries of the membership have been
And
involved.
6 were implemented on the field.
That's a nice story. Okay, Harish Sharma is going to tell us of a good, successful event. Thank you, Uma.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Chair. I thank ICIMOD for giving me opportunity to present before you the case study of Kullu Valley, Himachal Pradesh, India, where we have successfully integrated beekeeping, which is a tool for nutritional security to the poor farmers or poor villagers, with the apple farming through pollination. Again, a very important tool for increasing productivity, biodiversity, and sustainable agriculture in the mountains especially and elsewhere also. So, apple, as we know, Himachal is apple bowl or fruit bowl of India, and apple constitutes about 48% of the fruit cultivated in Himachal. And that too, this apple is grown under marginal conditions. So that means larger proportion of the fruit growers are from marginal families. And this is a very classical case. What is being taught or talked by today by globally, that pollination crisis can be there. It can lead to problem in the food security. So here, what happened was is a really very critical situation, that in apple in Himachal Pradesh, what happened in 86, the productivity was somewhere around 8.6 tons per hectare. It comes down to about 4 with a regular crop failure. And the reason was lack of adequate number of pollinators and receipt of proper amount of pollen due to the poor pollinizer proportion in the apple orchard, which happened in a cross-pollinated crops and especially in self-incompatible crops. So this is really an alarming situation. It can happen anytime. I just want to insist before the house that pollination is taken for granted services. It's not like that. It can happen, and what happened thereafter, how it was upscaled, I will be dealing in detail. So, our association in this project, the ICIMOD, is for over the last decade, and for about 1 decade we have worked with Dr. Umar and myself in Kulu Valley, and we started a research, proper research in apple pollination, wherever we worked out all the issues relating to apple pollination through field studies. That was one part. And our main aim was to study the impact of honeybee pollination on apple production or productivity as a whole. And thereafter what we did, as all the speakers are saying, that we raised awareness at different levels, which include through awareness camps, workshops, demonstration, using media and publications, that is true. But the important part which ICIMOD put into this was farmers' participation. Action is done long back in 2000. But that has really very good results. And then through these studies, we increased the capacity of stakeholders at different levels. Maybe through training, material development, trainings, policy workshops, and knowledge sharing. Just few examples that during this training program and pollination demonstration, we take every care that women participation is there. We ensured youngsters and all ruralites participation. The most important part was in the middle, that we ensured policymakers' participation to these demonstrations, so that they can themselves realize the importance of pollination and what is happening. So, we showed the impact of food production due to managed bee pollination or managed pollination in the field with all the participation. Just one example, that we could get with Apis cerana bees and proper pollination proportion up to 50 tons per hectare of field in an orchard which was well managed. In fact, apple farmers, they are pumping all the inputs to their apple, get higher apple productivity, but pollination was at a lower scale. So that means if this pollination is included into this system, so it will ensure a regular crop, it will ensure a productivity as well. And of course, sensitization of policymakers, we started from Gram Panchayat, village level representative, to university authorities, to local leaders and the top men of the state, our chief ministers, all were apprised of and sensitized about our findings. And current status is now, after 10 years work, that both Apis cerana and Apis mellifera are used for pollination. There is an organized system of hiring, renting bee colony, and farmers, they are paying about $12 to $15 per colony per season, that means for about 21 days. And now colonies are booked in advance by the farmer, and even 1 or 2 places people have started hiring bees on community level, and there is a scope for adoption of Apis cerana beekeeping for pollination. This term we coined during our studies, that in mountain areas beekeeping is for pollination. Small scale beekeeping is possible, and that too with this indigenous bee, which will take care of pollination of fruits, other crops and other flora in that area. And when it comes to experience for managed pollination from the farmer's perspective, they speak that our target apple orchards, they say their production increased by 20 to 30%. Fruit quality, which is very, very important when it comes to international market, well-formed fruit, better color, reduction in misshapen food, and of course, better market and price. And it gives opportunity for both small-scale Apis cerana and commercial Apis mellifera beekeepers. Again, right now we are dependent upon Apis mellifera beekeepers who are migrating their colonies from these neighboring states and few from the Himachal Pradesh. But during the last stage of this ICIMOD project, we have adopted one Banjar Valley in Kullu Valley, where we are developing indigenous bees only for pollination, and for your information, sir, we have generated a lot of funds to carry out the activity. And now there is a high demand for bee colonies. As you can see, right side it is in Hindi, that our Fruit Grower Association has provided all information from here to hire these colonies, and also scope for establishment of pollination enterprises being fed by various agencies at village level, at higher level as well. So, in a holistic approach, what was the institutional mechanism for upscaling? Yes, our university, Food Grower Association and Department of Horticulture and other line departments from the government, they were there. University I have talked that we conducted on farm research, provided training, etc. And then Department of Horticulture plays a very important role in maintaining, renting out the bees for apple pollination, assesses demand for bee colonies, and also makes supply arrangement. And providing financial support and training, and interestingly under Horticulture Technological Mission, there is a special financial support to have small-scale beekeeping for pollination in the fruit bowl or fruit-growing area. And Fruit Grower Association, very strong association in our area. All the farmers under one umbrella, and this is a platform for discussing. They provided us for fruit farming related problems, and they have their say in the government, and they are coordinating with different stakeholders for taking up all the issues, including pollination. And this all resulted into a win-win situation for beekeepers, for apple farmers. So apple farmers and beekeepers have a very, very close association. They are understanding each other's product. Even one of area, apple farmers, they have notified that there should be no spray during apple bloom. We do not spray our flower, because we want to safeguard the interest of bees which are being shifted to the orchard. And beekeepers have opportunity to earn extra livelihood, and there is opportunity for stationary beekeeping in a proper village, for renting out his colony to have his for his better livelihood. And ICIMOD played a key role, and as I've been telling at many fronts, that when I say as a university senior scientist that pollination is important, people do it. Policymakers also listen to us. But when ICIMOD says, then they are really careful. And they say, oh, even to me people will say in a meeting, okay, we have heard of Pratap and ICIMOD, there is a pollination project. So what I mean that this sort of the institution like ICIMOD has its own definite role, and it has facilitated and provided us technical support, and we come to this success story after about a decade. Thank you for the
Thank you. Thank you for a very enthusiastically and professionally delivered presentation, and ended right on time. So thank you for all 3 points. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Okay, our last, we've had leaves, we've had plants, we've had nettles. I'll have to look at nettles with new respect. We've had bees, we've had rangelands and sheep. So now we're turning to one of the other economic activities of these areas, which is, of course, animals. And our last presentation is on strengthening the local support service delivery mechanisms for veterinary healthcare services, healthy animals for better rural incomes. So Dhrupad, Dhrupad Choudhury, who's our overall organizer, is going to do the presentation on this. And so you have an initial 5 minutes, and that will be followed by Augustus Suting. I got that right? Yes. Okay, we'll give the presentation from the standpoint of India.
Thank you, Chen. I'm not going to put any slides on, but just give you a background. For the mountain communities, whether you're talking about the rangelands, which you heard our friends from China and Ismail presenting, the rangeland program which is there, or you talk about communities who are living in the mid-hills or even down in the humid tropics of Myanmar, of Northeast India, all of them look at livestock, whether it's large livestock or whether it's small animals, poultry, or even pigeons, as a means of investment. We put our money in the bank, the poor put their money in animals. And why do they do that? For the simple reason that when they require cash, it can be liquidated at any time. They can sell it and they get the money back. And at certain times of the year when there is a high demand, they have very good profits. They have a huge return which is there. The investment and return ratio is amazing. You take examples of what happens during the cycle here in Nepal. The price of mutton goes up at least 20 times. So the farmers really have the communities have a really good return during these times. When you look at marriages in the Northeast, people are meat eaters. And so when you talk about a marriage, you have to have meat. Poultry brings in a very handsome profit. And when you look at in terms of adaptation to climate change, one of the investments that they have made all over the Himalayas, the studies that we see, is in livestock or in poultry and piggery. There is, however, very big risk. And the risk is, if an epidemic comes in, they don't have veterinary healthcare services at their doorsteps. And in mountain areas, this could mean that all the investment that these poor farmers have made gets wiped out in just one go. And this has happened, we have seen this with the avian flu, with the Ranikhet diseases, a number of such instances. Well, when we started, and this was in a EFAT funded grant, where we were looking at, one, how do you ensure sustainable livelihoods, and particularly livelihood improvement, cash generation, and two, how do you enhance adaptive capacities and resilience of these communities. We worked with a partner. Augustus here represents one of the EFAT projects, which was the Meghalaya Rural Livelihood Improvement Project. They have a society MRDS. They were our partners. Similarly, we have partners in Uttarakhand with Ajivika. We decided to see one of the pilots that we decided to take up was how do you improve delivery mechanisms, link it up with the government, and at the same time this can be replicated anywhere that you're talking about. It's not specific, location specific. But we did the pilot in Meghalaya. And to tell you how that went, I invite Augustus here to give the story.
Thank you, Dr. Dhrupad. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share this learning and experience, which will go a long way for all mountain people, because it's the same problem, the same people. Our livestock is our ATM. And we did this, and we had called these master trainers. Earlier we had called them barefoot doctors. The community refused to use that name. They say we are not barefoot, we have gumboots. That's how we changed the name to master trainers, and later on to para-professionals or para-vets. And well, I won't talk much, but we had a collaboration with ICIMOD. ILRI was there in the value chain, the International Livestock Research Institute. And we also looked at community insurance for livestock through Micro Insurance Academy in New Delhi. And the study showed that people don't want to increase the herd size because the first priority is loss, as Dr. Dhrupad said, loss of herd. The second was mortality, and the rest followed, like fluctuation of prices, input, breeds not available, and technical expert not available. And I would like the video to tell the story. And as part of the knowledge management strategy of the state, this document is made by the community themselves. Because even documentation is a problem. For your information, even our drivers know how to document.
So we have here Dr. Ivan Chalam, who is KNH Veterinary Officer in Kardem Veterinary Dispensary. So sir, we would like you to just tell us something about yourself.
Okay, I'm Dr. Ivan Chalam. I'm working as a AHN Veterinary Officer at Kardem Veterinary Dispensary. So my main work here is treatment and then prevention of diseases by way of vaccination, and then inspection of diseases and implementing of many governmental schemes.
We just wanted to take a short interview of yours on the concept of master trainer. Like you are aware that our project, the Meghalaya Livelihood Improvement Project for the Himalayas, which is working with MRDS in Meghalaya, has come up, along in collaboration with ICIMOD, have come up with this concept of master trainer, which means having these para-vets in the field itself. Can you just tell us something about this? Is it helping them, or how is it work done? How does it work?
Yes, this is, according to my opinion, this is quite a very good. It's quite a good idea. Like they have put some master trainer with me in the dispensary, and like I've been training them, and like they are doing good. Moreover, like they are helping me a lot. You know, after like my dispensary has covered quite a vast area, and then I don't have much people in the field to go to some other places to do vaccination or to do some injections and antibiotics and all. But once I have these master trainers, they really help me a lot regarding especially vaccination, and then for example some treatment which I did, I asked them to follow up. For example, like to report and then to continue the injections, especially for antibiotics. You cannot go in a single day. And I can't go to every village every day, continue the injection. So this idea of master trainer is quite helpful. And I really thank the artists for this.
How do you feel about this, the training that's been done in the field itself, like hands-on training compared to theoretical training that's been done in the classroom in condemned dispensary? Is this helpful for them?
Yes, it's very helpful. Theory, as you know, it's theory, but it's practical. In theory, okay, theory also is needed, but to get hands-on is quite a big difference from hands-on training. Because when, for example, for simple cases like castration, when I draw figures and when I describe them to do, but when you do it in real life is quite a big difference. I'm very confident that these master trainers, they can do castration all by themselves. They have done vaccination, they have done injections all by themselves. On the prescription that I've given from my dispensary. I don't have to come here to this.
Interesting. I've never had to climb a tree out. Thank you very much. Now, we actually do have half an hour for discussion before lunch. So you've had 4 fascinating presentations. And Dhrupad is going to give us a few words about the whole concept of upscaling and just some of the lessons learned from that, which will set us towards a discussion, because it would be fascinating to discuss the internalities of these projects, but what I'd like a lot of discussion to be about is the whole process of upscaling and how we've learned that, because much as I'd love to know all about the bee problems, I'd like to know how we get, how we spread this even further faster. So, Dhrupad.
Thank you. For all the cases that have been presented in this session, I think these lessons are common. Before I come to the lessons, I think I have to make a statement here. ICIMOD has done a number of projects. You all know for all these years we have done many projects. We selected a few which have been upscaled. So what you see here are good successes from the ICIMOD projects where the governments have taken that up. It's been integrated in many of the programs, the government programs which are there. So what were the lessons that we had from this? And I draw not just from the experience of the IFAD projects, but throughout. Number 1, strategic identification of partner. And that partner has to be either a knowledge partner, but also has to have the capacity of outscaling and upscaling. So in all the presentations, what is found is our partners that we chose were also part of the government, either at the provincial level or at the state level. Second, you have to have a common vision and you have to have the common objectives, the goals that we have, whether it's from ICIMOD or from the partner. There's a certain goal that we have to require, and that has to be a shared goal. That's crucial. Then only you get this partnership going. The third is pilot with the practitioners. If you pilot with the practitioners, the last one that you saw, where martyrs were the practitioners, or when you see what Duthi was talking about, what Ismail was talking about, these are the practitioners. So if you bring in the practitioners, you know that the upscaling is going to be fairly easy if we have a successful pilot. Now, upscaling of the last presentation by Augustus. In the next session, we have Mr. Pankaj who is going to make the presentation on the integrated basin development program of the government of Meghalaya. And he will bring in where have the lessons from or the pilots from ICIMOD been taken up in the larger context of the government programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, who's going to run around with the microphones? Do we have a microphone runner? Okay, question at the back there, please. Please stand up when you ask a question and identify yourself.
I'm Lynn Bennett, and I just wanted to know from Dhrupad. We heard from Dr. Shah yesterday about some of the ways that the employment guarantee scheme had to be contextualized and made to fit the local situation. In fact, he was very, very particular on the need to not take a cookie-cutter approach, but to always make things fit to the local situation and figure out the local elite and that sort of stuff before you. So I wanted to know from some of the panelists, how did you deal with the differences? I mean, when you moved the beekeeping or the rangeland to new places, did you find new challenges, and how did you build that flexibility into your program?
Okay, thank you. We'll answer that with particular reference to bees. So you're next here, and what questions do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry, we're going to answer the question first, but you'll be the next questioner. Okay, go ahead.
In fact, when we started this activity, so you see, it was skill, knowledge, and inputs. So all were there in that part of Kulu Valley where we started this activity. When we shifted it to some other places, the major impediments was that skill and awareness that generated interest amongst the farmers for using bees, but there was not much of inputs. So that was one of the major problems in our case. Yeah.
I'm going to ask our Chinese colleague, when you moved from one part of Tibet Plateau to other parts, was it necessary to change the project? What had to be changed in order to make this successful in different areas?
首先，第一个就是我们在做这个项目的时候选点很重要，就是要选在交通比较便利，这地方便于这个我们红的这个点是在整个九寨沟黄龙这样一个旅游环境以及川西的这个草原大草原这么一个环线上。 因此呢，就说是，这是我们讲的第一个，要有一个辐射带动作用，就是，选点比较重要，这是第一。第二个，就是要建立这个科技示范园区，这个科技示范园区里面，要把整个畜牧业生产的要素。 也包括这个田间培训学校啊，我们这个山地中强调的参与基线调查等，整个这些内容都在里面，有一个载体，让这个牧民群众他能够到里面，在里面呢，他能够就是把自身就结合进去，就是。
Okay, so the first is. I mentioned is the first one is the location of the demonstration site. So what I want to say is like the site we selected in Hongyan is on the main, is by the main highway. So it's easy for people to come and see this what we are doing. If it is in the remote area, out of the wayside, so it could be very hard to bring people to the site to see even. So this is one. The other one, what I want to say, he said, is like when you are selecting site, it's very important to select site which, so you have to give full consideration of the representation of the sites, so as to integrate more elements or more factors which are related to the demonstration of the technology, so it can be easily promoted into other areas.
Okay, thank you. That's a good answer. Wait. But go on. Thank you very much. Yes. Micro? Nope, it's coming. There we are. Okay.
My name is Muhammad Khan. I'm from Pakistan. My question is related to this pollinator. I think that was a really very interesting case. I have really I need some more insight. Actually, what happening, you know that in Pakistan, Balochistan area is very famous for producing very high quality, high value apple. So about 2 months back, we were in a meeting with Chief Minister, and there was one politician from the apple growing area. He was a minister, he told us that in all over Pakistan you think you are eating apple. You are not eating apple, you are eating poison. Because we, you see, use pesticide more or less 12, 15, 16 times. So you see, with that much use of pesticide, you can imagine what type of quality of apple we are. So you see, in your experience, because you see, and also in Pakistan it's very difficult to promote, you see, the ask or to just motivate beekeepers to just visit or take colonies in the apple growing area because of the high use of pesticide. So you see, in your company, in your scaling up strategy, how you overcome? Because you see, you cannot simply say that you stop using pesticide and then only the pollinators will do it. So how you have been able to overcome that phase so that we can also benefit from this experience and replicate it fast?
The first and foremost thing is that in our area, we were dealing with those farmers which are really quite responsive. That's one thing. And secondly, it took us a lot of time. Like in our area, there is one insecticide, metazine, methyl paraquat. That is known as insecticide which is responsible for fruit set in apple. When we go to the field, farmer will say, okay, we have not done the spray for fruit setting. We spray insecticide metazine, which is going to repel all the pollinators. Then we give demonstrations with some of the innovative farmers. We call them, we say, okay, you don't spray 50 trees, you don't spray 100 trees, we will pay for it. And after fruit setting, they observed there is no difference, even good fruit setting. That was one part. Then when people come to know that pollinators and pollinizers are really important, so they realized and they even try to keep these pollinators from other orchards. So it was only possible wherein we took a responsive or innovative farmers along with us, but we were continually in touch with them. And we started such demonstration at small scale initially, then the news spread, okay, the spray is not required. So this way, now, in most part of our Himachal Pradesh, as at Kullu Valley and Shimla, the insecticidal spray is not done specifically during flowering stage. And for this, like we have said, fruit association is very strong. Himachal government, horticulture department, it has their workers at village level and universities there. So regular interaction with the farmers has helped into it. Yeah.
There's two interesting parts there. One is the use of farmers as demonstration agents, but also some risk sharing to try and promote good practices, so that when you set aside some areas not to be sprayed with pesticides, then the risk sharing is done in the sense that we will pay you to do this if there's a problem. So those are two very interesting parts of it. Yes. Yes. Okay, next. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ben Suting from the Chinese Kingdom Sciences. I think the ICIMOD have piloted very successful cases, but you may notice that the benefits are different from each areas for the local development. To my knowledge, that's because of the function of government is different. My question is how to strengthening the government function. Meanwhile, at the beginning, maybe government is very important, and basically the market is very important. How to deal with the two factors? Thank you.
Do you want to try that? How to strengthen the government role? Because you did that very successfully in your project. Because you're right, the government is the necessary partner.
I think in government also you need change managers. Number two, we have to identify the government also, some people who have work. Then, again, demonstration is necessary, innovation in demonstration is necessary. Then only that part of honey will be successful. Then once China also they did similarly. So main thing is change agent we have to choose from the government side. That is the key initiative. Then everything will come.
So if the government is not responsive,
Yeah.
you just have to move on and do something.
No. But government officers also, they are not all are top down. Some 20% they are bottom up. So we have to choose the right person.
Okay, so find the one from the right 20% is the answer. Okay, yes.
Thank you very much. I'm Rajiv Sharma. I come from India. I would like to really congratulate all the presenters for the innovation which they have really brought out in the indigenous and traditional practices of rural livelihoods of the people at large in the Himalayan region. But I would like to supplement also that when the question of payment for animal husbandry services is there, definitely the people are ready to pay if quality services is being delivered to them. So I would like to I have been looking forward to a lot of foods which are coming in every day's one day briefings. But if you allow me, I'll take a little bit of honey from the sweetness which has been there. I think that ICIMOD through innovation has offered a sweet opportunity to revive the traditional livelihoods of rural people. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. We'll take that as a statement, not a question. So thank you.
I'm Vinod from India. I have two questions, one for bee and one for nettle. Because, in Himachal, this, especially this indigenous bee has been standardized for apple or orchard, But what about the other crops? And especially in the climate change mood, now the cropping pattern is also changing, even the flowering also. And as far as apple is concerned, it's going to the upper heights now. So, and most of the people are using the open pollinated seeds now. So what do you think, how they should take it forward? And what's your strategy for taking forward the other crops? And second, about this nettle thing, personally I feel, we shouldn't compare this because this is going to be very niche product. We shouldn't compare this to the cotton because we are planning to bring down the kind of product range through, and it's available in very limited quantity also in some area.
Okay.
So I feel, we should keep it in the niche market only.
Okay, thank you very much. So the first question is, what is the predictable impact of climate change on apples? And then the next one is, where do you see the market for the nettle products? So obviously it's not going to be the same as cotton. So
time for just one quick.
have you an additional question or?
No, I just want to clarify.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Just one line. When you really call it upscaling, there is a definition to upscaling. When you think it's been upscaled, there's a comment to I think all the time. So the title is upscaling. Of all the presentations you have made, do you really think it's been upscaled or there's something yet to be done?
Okay, we'll come to that one then after this one. So bees first, apples first, and then bees first and apples.
Yeah, like you said, for other crops, as the case in Himachal Pradesh and India, so now we have a project, All India Coordinated Research Project on honeybees and pollinators. And there the emphasis on database generated of pollinator of important crops, be it agriculture, horticulture in different parts of the country. And as such, our department have worked out all the requirements for various crops. For adoption level for crops, for other crops is comparatively low. The reason is that for all other crops they are in smaller volume, and the natural pollinator fauna is sufficient. Like we did study with chia in Uttarakhand, in apple also. So the orchard which are close to forest area, the pollinator population is sufficient. Additional supplemental colony is not going to be increased yield. So that is one part. But with climate change and habitat diversity, all these issues have been taken up by the university and at national level as well. And we have worked out all modalities using bees under pollination for cages, for hybrid seed production and so on and so on.
Even at higher temperatures and different moisture.
Yeah, we have worked out under this project also, but our like in apple, low temperature is not going to affect much apple so far pollination is concerned, but when it is higher above 28 or 30 degrees centigrade sometimes, it shoots up, then the stigmatic fluid will dry up. Even if the pollinator is there, pollination is there, pollination is not going to happen. That is a different story. Okay. And that's why there is a shift in the apple plantation from lower to higher price.
So the market for the nettle products, the nettle?
Rightly says that the nettle is a niche market now, but market is very dynamic. Maybe the other product will come and the sale of the nettle product will go down. What we have started is that if you need a mass scale of nettle fiber, then we have started nursery technique of the nettle. And 80% germination is there. Then strip sowing is the best method. So what we are now thinking is that, see, if the product is apparent, it is a phloem. So if it is the fiber is mature, more lignification, so very hard. So if you want to go for a textile, we have to harvest early. So even the spacing between two nettle plants is necessary. So science is more needed, more research is needed. Number two is that I think we have to diversify the product. Now we are only focusing on the 4% of the fiber. Leaf, I think nettle leaf contains 25% of the protein. In Northeast and my state, we eat also, and in Nepal also they are producing soup. And animal husbandry, mostly piggery and this thing are, I think we give to nettle leaf, and they are highly producing. So we have to go on further research on feed and all this thing. And number three is that the hard portion of the nettle can be used as a alternate timber or something like that, particle board or something like that. And leaf contain another purple dye. We can go for natural dye. So we need to develop further many products so that it can be
strong tensile strength.
Yeah.
Okay, where's Dhrupad? Yeah, right there.
Sorry, I want to the query of Dr. Toria. I think we are not scaling up, we are sharing the model. And I think in mountain, each village is a book. So it's very difficult to upscale.
I wanted Dhrupad also to take that on. Like, in what sense is this upscaling? Did you find a microphone somewhere? There's a microphone right there. Because I think the the Chinese one is a very clear example of upscaling, to go from one small area. That's right. So that's in what sense are these?
What about the risk?
Yeah. I will talk on the veterinary healthcare. The upscaling is being done. We did a pilot which was only in one district. Then it was outscaled by the project, the ICIMOD project there, to other districts. Now this has been upscaled to the Integrated Basin Development Program, which is the government of Meghalaya. So in that sense, it's being upscaled within the state. And Mr. Pankaj, as I mentioned, would be talking on the program in the next session. So there you get the...
Good question. Okay, our last question.
Okay.
Yes.
I just have a small question about the bees. How does this work with the native species of the Serena along with the Melifera? You said you were working with both. So how does the native species deal with this exotic species?
In terms of pollination or you mean beekeeping?
In terms of survival of the native species, because Serena is like very, very limited to our knowledge.
Yes.
And the Melifera is all over the place. The government has been...
When it comes to mountain areas, we have clearly defined the roadmap. That is, that in mountain areas, we can have only Apis cerana as stationary beekeeping, not Apis mellifera. Because in a cooler climate, I am talking of a real mountain area, not the low-lying area, there cerana is a frugal species, means it can survive on less number of flowers, and a pair of both the bees at same place. We used to feed Apis mellifera and extract honey out of Apis cerana. It happens almost every year. Because mellifera require a large number of monoflora, honey source plant, flowering at a one stage. That is one thing. Then this is a cold hardy species. This Epicera, more suited to our environment. And indigenous bee, native bee, so I mean it is more fit into mountainous area for stationary beekeeping and small scale beekeeping. Apis mellifera we recommend it for migratory beekeeping. It can be shifted for a short while to Himachal or Himalayas, like high area, mountain area. But for its economic viability, we have to migrate. And for like a complementary, we can discuss it.
This much about bees, and we've only used this much, so I think you should find him at the lunch hour and find out the answer to your question, because I think he knows an awful lot about bees. Okay, we actually will have time for one more question. Yes?
I just have one question more clarificatory in nature. Thank you very much for those motivating presentation. A lot of hard work, no doubt. It was fascinating to see so many agents also coming together. But tell me, will these agents slowly leave these villages? Will the locals be able to sustain themselves with these projects, sustain themselves in the long run?
Thank you. And I'm really glad you asked that question, because, I'm wondering, for example, who pays the people that are seeding in the area in Tibet? Is somebody paying them? And who will continue paying them? How will the market contacts keep on being made with all of the products that are coming out of that area? And is the beekeeping sufficiently sustainable once the thing goes on? So that is a very good question. They're market connected, which is good. That's a step towards sustainability. But are they really sustainable? Is somebody paying the ones who are putting the seed down? And will they keep on paying them when the project is over?
我们在这个项目设计的初期，就把这个当地的有一定文化基础的牧民群众，就把它设计到我们这个整个这个执行队伍里面。另外就是从我们中国有一个体制，就是说乡镇都有这个农业服务机构，比如说乡镇收益站、乡镇农业推广站，这些是最基层的步骤的这样一个执行人员在协助百姓一起参与这个事情。除了就是上面有大的一些政策的一些支持，主要一些技术集成，又是主要的基层的执行者，主要是跟我们当地的村民以后，我们乡镇的服务站、服务机构、服务组，还有我们的这个就是那个应该叫做合作组。谢谢。目前是这样的，采用目前现在这样是两块，一块机制是企业行为的，就有企业付费；另外就是在农牧民这一块，基本上是实行由政府买单，因为中国已经对农业税实行了全部减免。好，谢谢。
Okay, so in terms of sustainability, so so first when we have special consideration to the participants of the program implementation. So for the farmers, we usually choose the ones who have interest and the ones who are better educated than others and better, more attractive to this concept. So this is one. The other one is like we have this in China, we have in the project implementation, basically we involved all the local level service institutions, so they can provide all the needed services or technical services after the program. And there is also a strong policy support from above in China. And again, we have different cooperatives, and some of the services are provided by the market through market mechanism. But in many of the cases, especially for the herders, if it is involving the herders, so the government pays much of these services.
When the project is over, does it keep going?
I think my experience goes, if it is a household, for example, livestock agriculture, it may continue on each and all. Like nettle and all these things, difficult. Say after 10 years, it may die down. Maybe because of, for example, textile, the design change, you need designer, and tools change. So, certain household thing it will continue, but not the textile or this.
But the linkage, I think the sustainability part that we're most interested in is the linkage between the people in the mountains and the market process, if you wish, in the village. Is that sustainable? Is that been built durably?
If you do PPP, then it will continue.
Thank you. It's a very important question. What we have observed from our action research in India and Nepal was that it depends on the local situation. When we're talking of bay leaves in India, the leaves were mostly found in reserve forests where people did not have access. The same product in Nepal was cultivated in their own farms as an agroforestry system. So the situation was entirely different. So on the one hand, we wanted to increase the incomes of dependent communities from bay leaves. But you see in the case of India, we have to have a special policy readjustment process to demonstrate that this works. Now, this model has been appreciated by the government, by the forest department, and they see strength that this can be done. In a 2-year period, we were not able to kind of take it to scale at the same, in the project period. But we are doing impact studies to find out where it has gone. Because we know that it has entered the working plan of the government. We know that bay leaf has become one of the key species for forestry plantations, and also in near the community lands. So I think so there is still some change. But very interesting part is the case of Nepal, where there is a true value chain. Out of the 25,000 tons of bay leaves that are produced in Nepal, 80% is exported to India. But the farmers in Nepal received only around less than 5% of the cost that was being of the produce in India. So I mean, there was a pure lack of communication information. And when we intervened with our value models, we found that the moment people went to the markets, the farmers went to the markets, they visited, and they found out, okay, we have everything that is to claim a better price. So they formed a group and they bargained into a contractual arrangement with one of the leading private sector companies. So previously they were selling only 2 tons, 5 tons, 3 tons, but now they contracted for 100 tons. And immediately the price raised from 8 rupees to 21 rupees because this is where they had the power. But the issue was not restricted only to our project action sites of 900 households. Immediately people from other areas learned about the initiatives. And they also claimed, okay, we have also the same products. So if you are paying 21 rupees in one village development committee, why not to us? Because the demand was so high in India, the local traders could not control the price anymore. So this led to a general rise in the prices in the markets. So at the same time, during intervention, you see there's a lot of scaling out of the impact. Now with the demand increasing in Indian markets, because it is a major ingredient in the spice sector, we are foreseeing that in the near future, this trend will continue because without the supply from Nepal, the Indian spice industry cannot succeed. So you see there are a lot of transboundary issues involved, and once people know their strength and they have strong institutions, I think so they can build upon that. And what was good in our case was that the general market level increment in price has become standard now. So even at the village level, what we found out in last year was that the prices are now almost 39, 40 rupees a kilo at the village level. So you see, over the time, this has really gone up. We are trying to do some impact assessment studies. Maybe we'll be able to answer your question in a clear way in the near future. Thank you.
Yes. Well, we're out of time now, so you can answer like that long.
Yes. Well, being a mountain person, we should be aware also that there are minimum of 3 income generating activity per household and maximum is 7. The entry point that we give to the household is to veterinary services, but it doesn't end there. The next comes feed. What about maize that they grow for feeding the poultry? Then we need to train them on, what type of variety will grow which will be nutritional for the need of the poultry unit, and what are the medicinal herbs that is required for the extension services when there are no more medicines available from the pharmaceutical companies. So it's up the value chain, starting as entry point activity being the veterinary health clinic.
Thank you. That was a good answer. Half a minute on bees. Is this sustainable?
Yeah, if we take up bees, the situation is mutualistic. Beekeepers are being benefited by taking rent, and orchardists are willing to hire a colony. And then it comes to demand and supply. That the number of colonies required for pollination is 50 times higher than what it is at natural level. So that is one part. And otherwise also beekeeping is an enterprise. Once it got established, then we need certain agencies to as a technical expertise. So in our area, so that is always there, which we have discussed, government association and beekeeper association. So there is no problem so far sustainability concerned. Otherwise, in other way, beekeeping are very, very important for sustainability of a particular area. So if they are there, it will be responsible for sustainability of other crops and the ecosystem.
Uma, final word on sustainability?
Like Harish mentioned, beekeeping and pollination in Himachal Pradesh is already on the way to sustainability because communities are involved. Beekeepers are involved, farmers are there who need bees for pollination, and it's already going on. We initially supported this initiative, but now it is already going on. And right now, there are just 10,000, 20,000 colonies for pollination, whereas area under apple in Himachal Pradesh is more than 100,000 hectares, which needs something like 250,000 to 300,000 colonies every year for pollination. So there is a lot of demand, and this business, I would say it's business, it's growing. So it's already on the way to sustainability.
So the employment outlook, if you're a bee, is very good. Yes. Wish we could transfer some of that to youth unemployment. Okay. Dhrupad has been one of the principal organizers of the whole entire conference, but also this particular role in this session. So I want to give him the last 2 minutes on the sustainability question, which is one that's very dear to his heart, and then we'll close the session.
Thank you, Chen. Straight to the question that you raised, Vicky, I think is the fundamental question that, the principle which underlies all the examples that you have seen today. For the mountain household, income, or for that matter, any poor household, income is the bottom line. And they would look for what are the ways in which they can enhance the income of the household. Sometimes they need to migrate because there are not enough opportunities. What we are looking at is also some of the households who cannot migrate. How can you ensure that a system is slowly built up where the household has one, assured incomes, enhanced incomes, and a system which is supporting that, so that they know that income, for the income of the household, for ensuring the livelihood security of the household, they don't need to migrate or they don't need to go out, and they are, slowly a system built up, an environment, an enabling environment built up, which ensures livelihood security of the mountain forward.
Okay, thank you. That's a nice thought, that there are some alternatives to the non-regulatory process with building prosperity. Can I ask you, because I think you've all been fascinated by these presentations, to give an especially loud round of applause, please.
And another round of applause to the chair.